We're live, everybody. Whoever's here so far, welcome to this watch along for uh, Alejandro Davidovich Fokina versus Artur Fees in the second round of Indian Wells. I have Tom Grant with me. Tom, first of all, how are you doing?
Not bad. I had having a couple of tech problems over here in sunny Glasgow. I'm having nightmares with my laptop, so I'm coming to you guys from the phone. Technology these days allows me to do this, so it might look a bit different on the screen in terms of the landscaping of my phone. But yeah, we're still managing to do it. Still managing to get the tennis on. I don't know if I'll actually even get the Arthur Feast Davidovich Fokina match on. Unless Sky Sports give me it. But, this is talking tennis. There'll be other tennis matches on. I can keep you updated with that. Fingers crossed I can get the Davidovich Burkina Feast match on. And yeah, looking forward to this one. Yeah, as we mentioned just before we came on live, this one should be a fun match-up too. Pretty explosive players when they're on their match day. Arthur Feast, not had the best kind of start to 2024. Don't think he enjoyed going to South America and the clay courts there. I mentioned before I watched him getting beat by João Fonseca. He lost that first set 6-1 and literally couldn't keep the ball in court. So hoping to see an improvement from him. Davidovich Fokina not really made the kind of same strides I think as he was making this time last year. He was really starting to bother the top players, but you haven't heard his name being mentioned too many times in the latter stages of events recently. But at the same time, two very good players and two guys who will bring their game to the court. They want to win, they're competitive, and yeah, it should be a good one.
Yeah, I agree. And about Davidovich Fokina, I think at the moment he's probably the best player who's never made it to the top 20, I would say.
Yeah.
And also hasn't won a title, which he's way too talented for that. So let's hope that doesn't stay for too long. But yeah, as we speak, I think Artur Feast, I don't know about you, but my stream shows him serving 30 love. He had a second serve, and Davidovich Fokina just missed a backhand return. So it's 40 love for Artur Feast.
Okay, cool. So what's been happening? I've been hearing that you've been globetrotting at some of the events. How have you been getting on over there?
Not exactly globetrotting. I just went to Dubai because I live here. So we applied for accreditation through Talking Tennis, was successful. So yeah, I had the privilege to go to the tournament and attend the press conference for both the WTA and ATP events. It was the first time experience for me, and it was a blast. Especially on the ATP side, because I actually had time to cover the entire tournament as opposed to the WTA tournament, because I was busy that week, so I couldn't cover all of it. Maybe just the first couple of rounds and then the semis and finals. But yeah, all in all, it was a great experience for me. At the championships, and the players I spoke to, I got the chance to speak to the best players from both of the draws, and I think they were great to speak to, especially the likes of, I should say, Medvedev. He's really delightful to talk to.
I'd love to be in a room with Daniel Medvedev and just ask him questions, and it doesn't even need to be about tennis, because for a fact that no matter what you ask him, he's going to give you a decent answer, isn't he?
Yep, exactly. And he actually is very endearing to talk to. He gets
he's a very smart guy, isn't he? He's a very intelligent guy.
Yeah, he's not just gonna give a blunt one-line, two-line answer. He gets insightful and quirky and honest with all of his responses, no matter what you ask him, like you mentioned. So yeah, it was a great experience for me, and I hope to be back next year.
That's the dream. And I'll get there one day when I can find a way of financing myself around these tournaments around the world, because I basically need to work right now. So that's what pays the bills. So, but no, very jealous of you, Strahari. Yeah, what's happening in the match so far? Then Arthur Feast, strong start, holds his serve. What's he doing to the Arthur Feast? Yeah, sorry,
right now,
to the Davidovich Fokina serve.
Right now, Davidovich Fokina serving 15 love in the second game, which is his, of course, first service game. He just missed the first serve, so it's the second serve for him. Yeah, let's see what happens here. It's double fault. It's 15 all.
And, what have you been, the first couple of days of Indian Wells, sometimes talked about as, the fifth major, everybody's here, both on the men's and the ladies' side of the draw. What have you been catching up on since Wednesday then? What have you been managing to watch?
So the WTA situation from my end, I never had a stream really. Obviously I've availed the services of BN, but they have stopped broadcasting WTA events for some reason. So I have a Tennis TV subscription, and if only there were a WTA streaming service also. But yeah, I've not been able to. I'm only catching the highlights on the WTA side, but on the men's side, of course, so far there were a couple of good matches. I mean, Wawrinka and Mahach, which Mahach won in 3 sets. And of course, he kind of dropped a stinker earlier today against Mahach. It was 6-1 and 6. I didn't expect that, to be honest.
No, me neither. When one of the guys in the Talking Tennis WhatsApp had said, Manarino's 4-2 up in the second, I'm like, just did not see that coming. But Manarino's a scrapper. I think he likes these types. I mean, he's playing with some decent form as well. He's I quite like Adrian Manarino. He's obviously in the latter stages, shall we say, of his career. That's not doing him a disservice, but he's been around for a while compared to all these guys coming through. But I like how he just keeps on plugging away. Seems like quite a mild-mannered guy, and he doesn't mind causing a bit of an upset here and there. So I agree. I did not see that coming, but he's a solid player, Manarino. And I like the cut of his jib, shall we say. I'm on the Coco Gauff match at the moment. She's in a bit of trouble here.
Oh yeah, I last I checked, she was down a break in the deciding set.
Down a break, 40-15 up in the third set. But yeah, she lost the first set.
1-4 down. Mm-hmm.
What's that? Sorry.
Well, she's 1-4 down in the deciding set.
Yeah, she's 40-15 up in her set.
Is about to lose the first set to Maria Sakkari. Is about to go a set down to Diana Schneider.
Sakkari, she's really struggling. Obviously, recently come out the top 10 for the first time in a long time. The same week as Steph Tsitsipas. So she's going through a bit of a struggle right now. I feel for her. She just needs to try to find a bit of momentum, a bit of time on the court rather than early round defeats to all these big events, because she's just going to keep kind of free falling through those rankings, isn't she?
Yeah, I know. Especially, I think funnily she won her biggest title not very long ago in Guadalajara, and she was really struggling until then. Managed to solidify a spot at number 9, but thanks to Mukova pulling out of the WTA finals, she managed to get through. Again, didn't put up a really good showing. I remember, was it the match against Raducanu where she got bageled and then ended up losing 7-6 in the third? I think it was against Raducanu.
She's been living on those Guadalajara points for a while now, and I think now that it's now coming to kind of bite her in the rankings, because those points have dropped off. So yeah, we may see a way back for Maria Sakkari, because at one point she looked like she was going to be one of the players at the upper echelons of ladies tennis, but I don't know what's been wrong there, in terms of where she can go from here, because it just seems like the other players are just so far ahead of her. Just to mention, I've got Coco Gauff at the moment on the tennis channel, and she is still a breakdown, but she's battling hard in this. I say that commentator's curse. She just fallen to the ground, scraped her knee a bit, but she gives a thumbs up and she says she's well. Anything exciting happening in the Spain v France match that you got?
So there were some wild shots from Davidovich Fokina where a couple of forehands that missed even the doubles lines. Artur Fils had a couple of break points, but Fokina erased them, and now we're at 1-1 in the first set.
How's Fils looking like? Because I'm sure you probably watched him when he was down in South America, particularly that Fonseca game match. I'll come back to that again, because that was the time I got a chance to really have a look at him. He just looked all over the place. There wasn't the power. Now that a lot of that was down to the Fonseca game. He was feeding off the crowd, the home crowd.
Hmm.
But Arthur Fils, is he looking like he's in the mood here, or what's he looking like? Because he can be a bit
Yeah,
hot and cold, can't he?
yeah. I think it was in Santiago, one of those tournaments which was happening along with Dubai, where of course we know Rublev got defaulted, and Artur Fils was also there. He was arguing with
That's right.
the
Yeah,
supervisor about a mark, and again he was using some expletives, and yeah, he was lucky to, I guess, not get defaulted. Considering his aggression and language he used. I don't know if that's the same tournament he lost to Thiago Zybot Wheels in, but yeah, he did lose to him somewhere, either Santiago or tournament before. But yeah, I watched only the highlights of his match against Fonseca, but yeah, that was more to do. I mean, yeah, like you said, Fils was all over the place. He was missing a lot of regulation shots, but yeah, Fonseca played really well in that match, and he really announced himself that match in that tournament. Unfortunate to lose out in the quarterfinals. I think it was a set and a breakup, but yeah, I really look forward to him in the coming months. And he has also um, withdrawn himself from, or made himself ineligible to attend university so that he can turn pro and become a full-time tennis player now. So that's also going to be, yeah, that's also a pretty big move that he made. He's only
yeah,
17. So yeah, we have in this same week we had him and Jakub Menzik making their they
making it
breakthrough.
run.
Jakub Menzik made the final in Doha. So yeah, exciting times ahead in men's tennis. Of course, we have Artur Fils, like we mentioned earlier, won the ATP Next Gen Finals in Jeddah last year. No, he lost. Sorry, he lost to Medjedovic. He made the final. My bad. But yeah, he Medjedovic was the one who won the next gen final. But he made the final. He won a title. He lost another final. I think
Yeah.
he lost to Quick. Um, it was Antwerp, I think. Yeah. So he had some good results last year, and
What do
he
you think
isn't.
about Arthur Fils choosing to go down to South America and playing the clay courts rather than go to Montpellier or Rotterdam, and do the indoor scene there? Like, was there any kind of thinking behind it? Being with the French Open coming up, is it maybe to try to get some clay court tennis in early? French Open is obviously going to be a special tournament for him, being from France. I just wondered what the thinking was behind that, in your view.
Yeah, I think his only title came on clay, and he made the semis in Hamburg as well last year. Lost to
Yeah,
Zverev, the true champion. So he does enjoy the surface, at least from from his results so far. We can That's what we can infer. And yeah, being a home favorite heading to the next slam, maybe he would want to get some uh, some clay court tournaments in, going into the golden swing, if you will. The three masters, and there's also the 500 Barcelona. I think there's also 215 Lyon. Uh, where was, I think, I don't know where exactly he won the title. Maybe it was Lyon, but yeah,
yeah, I think it was. He's won one title, hasn't he? Yeah.
he did, and I remember it being on clay. Maybe it was Lyon. Let me just have a look anyway.
See, this would be the point when I had my laptop that I'd find out. I'd click a couple of buttons, but the only thing that I've got is through this phone, and I don't want to lose you. So, um,
Oh, good. Let me just. Oh, he's already 7-6 for this year. Yeah, it was Lyon. Exactly. He
yeah,
won the
good shout.
title in Lyon.
And Leon's a 250, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his only tour title, and he made another final in Antwerp, like we mentioned. He
What's
lost to.
I mean, he's still a very young man. I think we've got to remember that because he has been around for 2-3 years on the main tour. Where do you see Arthur Fils in the echelons of the game going forward? Everyone's talking about Alcaraz and Sinner, and this is going to be the future rivalry. Where do you see Arthur Fils fitting into this? Is he going to be maybe just a top five guy who can't impact the other two, or what's your view?
Yeah, well, the thing is, he is actually younger than both of them by a couple of years or so. So maybe it'll take another year or two for him to make his quantum leap, like Sinner and Alcaraz did. I mean, obviously Sinner's 2 years or so older than Alcaraz, but he officially made that big step towards the end of last year, and now he's on this a pretty big winning run since losing at the U.S. Open to Zverev. But yeah, I maybe it's a little too early for me to say now how he would fare or where he would be in a few years' time compared to Alcaraz and Sinner. But the talent is definitely there. The only question is the discipline and temperament. Will that obviously, even amongst Sinner, Alcaraz, and Rune, you can see how Sinner and Alcaraz have separated themselves from Holger Rune in terms of that department. They're much better in terms of temperament and discipline.
Yeah.
Rune also had some figuring out to do. I mean, his last few months really have been a mess. Since I would say Wimbledon, it's been a mess for him because he had all of those injuries. He didn't do anything about it. And then, yeah, he came back.
I think do you remember the controversy that he created at the US Open about the court that he was playing on? And he caused up a big stink about being in court 5 or something like that at the US Open.
Yeah, I remember. He put out the I think site map.
Yeah. And I think just for whatever reason, I do think he was injured going into that event anyway. I don't think he was fully fit. I think he played too much tennis. But I think, the backlash that he got for a young guy and seeing all that backlash, that's probably really impacted him. We've got to remember this as well. So I think, in future, I mean, I don't think he's got this persona that he's a likeable guy. I mean, you hear loads of things, you hear. But recently I've seen him on the charm offensive a little bit. He's in pictures playing football with Djokovic, etc., and stuff like that. So I just wonder if he's trying to, and obviously the coaching stuff's just a mess, in terms of, getting red and then coming back to Montecoglu, Boris Becker. Boris Becker couldn't go anywhere.
I mean, he had a few good tournaments. I mean, Basel, he made the semis, lost to Felix. Made the quarters in Bercy, lost close on to Novak. He played 2 close matches with Novak in Bercy and in Turin. Turin also, and he almost beat Sinner. Had he won that, he would have made the semis. And
that's right. That went to the decider, because that was the match that they were all thinking that Sinner was going to tank, wasn't it? So that Djokovic would get put out.
Yeah, that was the match. I mean, Novak's fate basically depended on that match, and Rune had break point to serve for the match at 5-3 in the decider, but.
Was he not struggling? Was he not hobbling about with one leg or something? I don't know. But anyway, what's happening in the match that you're watching at the moment? We're just having a changeover.
Fees has just held for 3-2. They're just going on serve for the moment. Fees had so far a couple of break points in the second game of the match, but other than that, it's been rather straightforward. Both players sort of cruising on serve.
And how many times has Davidovich Fokina went to ground when trying to play a shot? Any times? Have we got ground watch yet?
If I think you're on Twitter, there is this page called "Did Foki Fall?"
That's what I'm referring to. And then sometimes it just puts a picture up and just says yes.
Exactly.
Just to mention, so Harry. Coco Gauff, Burrell has been serving to win the match, but Coco Gauff has got to love 30 on the serve. It's 5-3 to Burrell.
Interesting. Let me have an eye on that one.
It's not down yet. So I'll maybe, just while they're taking a break and play in your match, she's now got 3 break points. She really got on top of a Burrell second serve. It was slow. There was no kick to it. Coco Gauff pounced on it, drilled the ball right at her feet, and Burrell could only find the net. So there's 3 break back points here, which would be quite the turnaround in terms of. She looked down and out, I think, at 4-1 and loved 30 on her serve, but she's fighting back, and she's just broken serve. So,
it's back on serve 5-4.
Yep, back on serve 4-5 in the decider. So plenty more tennis there. On the, I think it's the Grand Slam, isn't it? The grandstand, the stadium court. God, can't need to put my teeth in. Um, yeah, so I mean, tell me more then. In terms of Novak, then I don't know. I was going to ask you. I don't know if you saw. I actually clipped a video up of Novak playing football. Now, one of the and I'll tell you the reason. Have you ever heard of a footballer called John McGinn?
I don't think I have.
Right.
Probably
That doesn't shock me because he's very Scottish, and he's like a cult hero over here. And he basically celebrates goals in a certain style by putting his fingers over his eyes.
okay.
So I clipped up a video yesterday. Obviously, a lot of the players have been playing football, soccer, all around the Californian desert just to relax. And I saw a video of Novak scoring. And what does he do? He goes and does the celebration. So I put up a video of going, did Novak Djokovic just copy John McGinn's goal celebration? And the tweet blew up. Like 16,000 people were on that tweet. And I'm just like, wow, I did not expect this. So a lot of people in England and Scotland believe that Novak Djokovic is copying John McGinn's football celebration.
Right, let me have a look at that tweet.
If you go to my Twitter, it should be the Tom Grant Journal, and you might be able to see it. Whilst you do so, I will just talk the guys through this golf match at the moment.
All right, yeah. I just see the copy. Game recognized game.
Yeah, it was. I like that. I like seeing these videos of the players just relaxing and all having a kickabout together and stuff like that.
Yeah, in that way, Indian Wells is unique because fans have access to players. Obviously, there is a sort of a barricade, but beyond that, you have this ground or football field where they either train or they play some football. By the way, I'm glad I'm not in the US anymore, so I can say football like a normal person. So yeah, for non or for American audiences, soccer, right?
Soccer.
Yeah.
The funniest thing to that was I saw a tweet one time of somebody basically, it was this whole MLS thing and soccer, and somebody had wrote, some American had wrote under a tweet saying, it's soccer, not football. And then some other person had written underneath, like, so why does every one of your teams have FC after their name?
Good point. Yeah, it's, I don't know.
Miami FC.
They play in the FIFA World Cup. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Back to tennis. Coco Gauff has 2 game points just to level up the third set of 5-all. She looks like she's maybe broken the spirit a little bit of Burrell.
I can't imagine what the atmosphere would be like on Stadium 1. I'm sure the crowd would be going nuts at the moment. Yeah,
she'll be a crowd favourite, that's for sure, and I'm sure that the crowd have probably helped her, pick herself up when victory looked a long way away. Now it still is a bit of a way. Burrell's just hit back a good return there, but again, it's another game point for Coco Gauff. Looks like Davidovich Fokina. First time I can remember seeing him win the first point on the feast serve. Is he putting pressure?
Yeah, he played a drop shot, drew Feast to the net, and then put away a volley winner. So it's love 15 with Feast serving at the moment. I see that Feast has tweaked the service motion from what it was last season. It looks like he's getting much more pace on it now. It's more fluid. It's more continuous as well. Second serve from Feast. Okay, that was I think Fokina would regret that miss because he had a look at that second serve and then he just sent that backhand was drifting way wide. So 15 all for Arthur Feast.
What happened in the? I was just finishing up a couple of tasks I had today before I could come on this. I noticed obviously Raducanu making it through to the third round because our opponent had retired. Was that just the Ukrainian just basically wasn't fit enough? Did you watch any of that?
Yeah, so Nick was covering that while Damien and I were having our eyes on a couple of different matches on the ATP side. Nick was watching. So apparently, what happened was Yastrom's got pulled at her ab or somewhere, and she was wincing and in a lot of pain. And then I think that they called the trainer to the court. And soon after, she went and hugged Emma, and the match was done. So it was something that happened during the match. I mean, she didn't particularly look great because I mean she was getting blown off the court, and there were quite a few errors from her side. But yeah, this happened, impulsively, and then yeah, the match was done right after. So kind of an anticlimax, but this is actually the first time Emma has won back-to-back matches since last year at Indian Wells.
Well, yeah, I was going to say it's good news for Raducanu fans because she has defended fourth round points. So yeah, who's she got up next? Is it?
It would be either Sabalenka or whoever Sabalenka's playing next. So I know it's
Someone's
potentially
playing this evening, I believe. She's playing it through the night, I think.
Peyton
She's playing
Stearns.
Peyton Stearns.
Yep.
Is it? Yeah.
Peyton Stearns.
So I mean, that should be. I mean, do you give Stearns any chance in that one?
I don't think so. I watched Peyton Stearns playing Andreeva in Dubai earlier this year or a few weeks ago. I don't know if she can really trouble Sabalenka considering how much firepower Sabalenka brings, and she could really maybe blow her off the court. But yeah, I think it would again depend more on Sabalenka than what Stearns would do. I mean, Stearns could still play well and end up losing. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a good test. I mean, should it?
Lost Tom for a bit, but he should be back soon, hopefully. Don't see anyone in the comments yet so far. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on this match. And Tom is back. Oh. And he's he disappeared again. So. So seems like see right, okay.
My apologies for that.
No worries, all good. Yeah, so I see that Burrell is just held for 6-5, so they're going all the way here on Stadium 1.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it'll be a good test of what was saying before I lost connection quickly. Should it be Raducanu and Sabalenka, it'll be a decent, a decent chance for Raducanu and her team to, I suppose, maybe just find out exactly where she is right now in terms of her level. I don't think that she's. I mean, I think Sabalenka is a heavy favourite for that match. But I think, Raducanu should maybe building a bit of momentum now. She hopefully, the fingers crossed, all the injuries are behind her. And she can actually now, just play tennis and put all the noise away. So I think it'd be a good chance. She gets an early start in that, maybe an early break. I think the first set is going to be crucial because I think, if she can get that first set, she's going to have to face a lot of power from Sabalenka. Sabalenka's improved the serve so much. So yeah, but I think it'll be a good chance. My point is, I'll be tuning into that one to find out exactly where Raducanu is, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people trying to do the same, work out exactly where she is in the kind of hierarchy of the game right now.
That's true. Yeah, like you mentioned, there's been so much going on with Emma. A lot of coaching changes, and then after that, finally, tending to her injuries, undergoing those 3 surgeries, which I mean, much needed. But yeah, like I've not really liked the noise around her from. I mean, we know the British media can be brutal towards their own, especially. We know the kind of treatment Andy Murray used to get. I mean, you would know it as well. When he loses, he's Scottish. All of a sudden, he's addressed as Scottish number one, or Scotland's Andy Murray. When he wins, Great Britain's Andy
Yeah,
Murray wins
yeah.
a Grand Slam. For the first time since Fred Perry. I remember this. I mean, back in 2012, I used to laugh at the hypocrisy of.
I don't think he did himself any favours by joking. I think it was for the 2010 World Cup, and they said, "Who do you want to win?" And he'd said, "Anybody but England." And,
I remember this.
And I don't think he endeared himself to many, but he brought himself. He got himself back. By I think the tears in 2012 against Federer after the Federer loss at Wimbledon final. I think a lot of people took him to their hearts, and then obviously 12 months later,
that was a pretty moving speech in the trophy presentation. And then after that, I mean, the Andy Murray that we saw at the Olympics and the U.S. Open, and I think that's the best I've ever seen him play. I mean, even I know that his best season on paper was 2016, but in terms of the level that he brought, I would still take the 2012, late 2012 to mid 2013 version of his any day. To be in my opinion, I think that was a much higher level. He was beating the likes of Djokovic and Federer. Didn't really play Nadal, but yeah, I mean, of course, he did play Nadal before that. I think you remember that Tokyo final in which he bageled him, lost just 3 or 4 points in the deciding set.
To take us down a slightly different route here, Srihari, I think I've just watched a point that you're going to see in social media quite a lot over the next wee while. I know that. So it's Goff versus Burrell. We're at 15 love at 5-6, Coco Goff. So basically, a kind of poor drop shot by Burrell. And Coco Goff is basically up to it in plenty of time. So what does she choose to do? She's like, right, I'm just going to just rip the ball right through my opponent here, just go right down the middle. So she does that. But as she's doing that, the ball hits the top of the net cord and loops over Burrell and lands into the court. So it was like, it's an astonishing point. If you can find it, find it. But it's just, I've not seen that for a long time. It was basically, she just tried to drill the ball through her opponent. Now, to be fair to Burrell, she's there with the racket, hoping to volley it. And then it hits the net tape and just loops over Burrell's head. And they're all kind of smiling, going, what just happened there? So it's 40-15 now, Coco Gauff. She's a point away from taking us into, I believe it'll be a 10-point tiebreak.
Looks like we have Damien here with us. Damien, just let us know when you're ready to join. But yeah, coming back to the match, Arthur Fils serving for the set. I mean, he played a pretty good return game. Alejandro Davidovich Fokina was love 40 down, brought it back to 30-40. But Fils ended up breaking him. Now he's serving for the set. He's playing some really good tennis right now. And
seems like quite a fast match. Like, obviously both players like a pretty brisk pace. Is that right, though? They're not messing about. They're just getting down, serving and playing on.
They're not messing about, but Davidovich Fokina is definitely missing a lot more right now. And Fils, he has, I mean, he looks dialed in. Obviously, on paper, this may be an upset, but I don't think. I mean, you mentioned that the head-to-head was 2-1 for Fils or for Fokina?
For Davidovich Fokina, I think Davidovich Fokina beat the French. Davidovich Fokina beat him with the French last year and Wimbledon, and then I think Arthur Fils won in Shanghai at the tail end of last year. Damien's nodding now. Whenever you say something about tennis and Damien nods, you get a little flurry in your heart. You know you've got it right.
I know. Fils Davidovich Fokina is definitely a matchup that I am very familiar with. Last year, I think I was watching every single one of these matches. Of course, at the French and at Wimbledon, we were all hoping that this was going to be like a star of the round type of match. It kind of wasn't on either occasion. In the French, of course, Fils was coming off that Lyon title, so I was a little disappointed with that in terms of physically he couldn't really bring his best. And then Wimbledon, he was actually outplayed pretty heavily, but then he got him in Shanghai. And honestly, so far, Fils in Indian Wells has been man completely changed from his Golden Swing campaign. Like this is a different person. It's a different player. Yeah, like the how lively he is, how he moves. Even I'm not saying he is poor on clay or anything. Of course, he won an ATP title last year, but it just doesn't seem like this will be the way going forward. Semis in Hamburg, of course. Yeah,
I was saying that earlier, Damien, about I actually commentated on the Fonseca match for Talking Tennis, and particularly in that first set, Fils just could not, keep the ball in the court. He was all over the place. He looked disengaged, just as if he couldn't be bothered. So, I mean, was it a good idea, in your opinion, for him to opt to go to the Golden Swing? Was it what were the thinking behind this? I asked it at the time. Is this because he's maybe wanting to get some clay court tennis in early? Do we have any reason as to why he chose to do it and not go to like Montpellier and Rotterdam?
I think he suggested the Olympics being part of it, but also later he just said that he wanted the experience of playing that swing. I think it's easier now to just sort of look at this decision and be like, it was horrible.
Yeah,
it kind of was. With how it went, but if you just sort of straight up thought about it, it didn't seem that poor on paper. Like it seemed like maybe a little bit of a different route given what he did last year. So like the back-to-back semis in Marseille, Montpellier. So that was a bit weird considering that. However, like it seemed like something that could legit work for him. Like it seemed like he might be a threat, but yeah, he wasn't, and he did not play a decent match even there. Probably in the 4-1s that he had against Lajovic, of course, in Buenos. Yeah, you've mentioned the Fonseca one, or even the win against Sabo Wild was like mostly the Brazilian not being able to keep the ball in court really. And against Martinez, he had like a very nice comeback, but in the second set tiebreak, he had a very nice comeback, but after that he was already drained. He had a right thigh issue. But yeah, so far here today, and even against who the hell did he play? I watched it now, but I don't remember. Who did he play in the first round?
Who did he play in the first?
Jesus, like
I know. I've watched this as well, or I saw it was on.
Nuno Borges.
Nuno Borges, of course, yes. That was a great performance as well. Especially
he's just taken the first set. No nonsense
set.
So far from Artur Fils. He's been serving lights out. Got a little tight towards the end of the set, of course, trying to close it out. Double fault and a couple of errors, but he gets it done regardless.
Do we still very much have a match on though? Do we see Davidovich Fokina fighting back? Has there been any signs that the Spaniard is in this match, or is it all Fils?
That's the thing. You just never know with Fokina what you're gonna get next, right? All of a sudden he's gonna start drop shotting and he's just gonna unload on the forehand, and before you know, he's back in the match, and you just never know with him again. So, but
Coco Gauff has taken total control of this match. Now she's 5-2 up in the breaker. She of course was 4-1 down. Burrell was serving for the match. So yeah, it looks like Coco Gauff. I know it's up to 10 points. There's still a bit to go, but yeah, she's got the mini break, and she's controlling most of the points now.
Up to 10 points? No.
Is it not?
No, it's just the slams.
Oh, it is? Right, okay. Okay, well,
I thought I heard you say earlier 10-pointer, but I wasn't sure. But yeah.
Yeah, that was my bad. Sorry, I thought it was all deciding tie breaks. So she's got match point, you're right enough. She's got 4 match points now.
Yeah, the way both are playing at the moment, I think, Fils will probably run away with this.
All right, okay. Burrell saves the first match point. I've not really noticed any Davidovich Fokina so far this year. He seemed to be making quarters and semi-finals at a lot of decent events last year. Has he just went off form, or what's been happening with him? Does anyone know?
Yeah, he made the quarters in Dubai. Completely got steamrolled by Medvedev. Yeah, I mean, he is ranked 21, I think, at the moment. Um, that, like I mentioned to you, probably at the moment the best player who hasn't made the top 20. Has Dan Evans made the top 20?
No.
Oh, so maybe he is, because he's actually one of 500. But yeah, one of the best players who hasn't won a title and or made the top 20, in my opinion. It was Bublik before that, but Bublik's now in the top 20. But yeah, well, yeah, I don't know what to expect from him, really.
Any other? I mean, obviously being a Djokovic fan for Harry, you don't, I suppose, see any problems for him today?
Not particularly. I think it should be comfortable. Alejandro Davidovich Fokina just had a really difficult lob to deal with, and he jumped to get that smash, and Fees couldn't get that back into play, and now it's 30-15, and there was a bit of a racket shake from Fokina, you know, just pumping himself up. But yeah, I don't think Novak is going to have any trouble today. I don't think.
Coco Gauff has won on her third match point. She was 5-2 down and managed to fight back. 5-2 down in that deciding set, but she has won on her third match point. Yeah, so well done, Coco, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, Burrell was serving for the match, and yeah, it's a set and a breakup also before that, so it's pretty good fight back. And again, just playing that brand of tennis of winning ugly if need be, uh, you know signature Brad Gilbert, right? So she's embraced that pretty well. Again, that's she's playing a lot more like a champion. uh, she's found a way to win ugly. That's also something I would say I haven't seen Sabalenka do yet, or
Yeah, but
maybe.
she's not playing well, Sabalenka.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, when she wins, usually it's when she's playing at a high level. When she's not looking at her best, I haven't really seen her tough out matches. So that's something I hope she can do, or like learn how to do.
Tell me, I'm just checking the stats there for your match, Feast and Fokina. Has that piece? Has he faced any break points so far?
Nope, not yet.
None at all. So it's a pretty dominant display so far.
Yeah, he's 1 for 5 on break points himself, but Davidovich Fokina hasn't had a break point yet.
Yeah, about Goff, I get it. She's winning ugly a lot these days, but you also sometimes have to win. You also have to win beautifully sometimes. she has to actually deliver the level at the in the big match, in the semis, in the final. I don't know. I just haven't seen that from her really this year. Like something that would tell me that she's actually a contender to win this title on par with Świątek or Sabalenka. But of course, if they fell somewhere, it's possible, and it might very well be a win that we're gonna be this one against Burrell that we're gonna be coming back in a few days to, and just thinking, oh, so she was almost out of the tournament here, but she's still in now.
I mean, was the last player who won a title beating Sabalenka and Świątek Rybakina here? Has anyone done it since? I don't think so, right?
So it's beat them both in the same event?
Yeah, at the same event. I don't think that's happened.
It'd have to be Rybakina, but I don't know. You've stumped me, so it's a good question.
Yeah, that was I mean, to be fair, Coco Gauff, I mean, because Damien mentioned it, she did beat Świątek to win Cincy and Sabalenka to win the US Open. So, yeah, I mean, I guess she hit a purple patch. I guess your question is, will she be able to replicate that for the season to come?
Yeah, but I think Sabalenka's definitely improved, as I mentioned, the serve earlier. So I think her all-round game seems to have went up a level compared to I suppose maybe Coco Gauff has as well, because she did win the US Open, and so yeah, good question though.
I think Davidovich Fokina is looking better so far this set. Hello, Ghosty. Nice to see you.
Was that Ghost? I can't see the chat because I'm on my phone. So
all right, yeah, Ghost is here. He says,
"Okay." Oh, there we go. Actually, I can.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Is Tom with a mustache? Is that John saying that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to be honest. I thought by my camera, and I'm looking through a wee tiny camera on the phone, I thought Damien had a mustache, and I was going to ask about Damien's mustache. He does have a mustache. Why am I getting called out for my mustache?
Yeah, that's been the talk of the week, really. The
sheriff. I've missed this.
Yeah.
What's it? What's this in aid of, Damien? Is this just a new look, or?
I was shaving myself like a week ago, and I just figured I might leave the mustache just for laughs, and then I was like, okay, it's fine. It looks fine. I can kind of exist like this for a while. It's my second time. It's like my second time in really maybe, but that previous attempt to have a mustache was like maybe a day or two, because I just sort of also left it for laughs, but this time it actually has stayed on for about a week now. So,
mate, I'm very jealous. I wish I had the cojones to allow myself to troop about with a mustache, but I don't. I'm too scared. I'm such a coward. But you might have inspired me, Damien. That next time I'm on a stream, I'll ensure I've got a good tash.
Fantastic. Let's keep the Jordan Thompson, Steve Johnson, and stuff energy. I guess in this event we still have Thiago Seybouville, who tends to have one sometimes. So we still have some players.
When he grows one, make sure to shave yours.
yeah.
Oh,
no.
Damien, what stream were you on earlier with Nick? What were you guys watching?
Yeah, I guess. Both of us are watching Feast and Davidovich Fokina.
But earlier on, was somebody on with Nick?
Right, Damien was watching Ugo Umber and Patrick Gibson.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, and I was watching Thomas Mahac and Marina, as you know.
Damien, tell me, can Ugo Umber, can he do something in this event? Because he's in really, really strong form.
Strong form, conditions not too great for him though. I think next round against Mikkelsen or Paul is pretty tough. Against Tommy, he's probably not the favorite despite the form, I would guess. Against Alex, maybe slightly favored, but it's a tough section of the draw. I mean, third round you have to play Mikkelsen or Paul, and then fourth round you likely have to play Novak. So it's gonna be hard to pull something off here, mostly because of how tough that section is.
Yeah. I mean, but he's also in probably the form of his life, the form of his career. He'll be optimistic that he can. How did he get on today? Like, in terms of his playing, his form, was he pretty comfortable?
Today, yeah, absolutely. He was handling the first serve of Gibson, which is kind of like the foundation of his game, very well. Had some nervy moments trying to serve out sets, but otherwise, there was literally nothing you could really, point out as flaws in his performance. So, I think he did get through that match sort of, cleaner than I was expecting to.
Well, he's actually just on my Sky Sports stream right now, just the match point and the handshake. So, fair enough. Any other big matches on tonight, like in terms of ones that to keep an eye on? That if I was to watch any match through the night, what's the match that I should be watching? And don't say Djokovic.
I think the 3 a.m. slots for me, so that's 2 a.m. for you probably, is the best. I'm gonna try to watch it, but Paul Mikkelsen and Ruud Klein I think are probably highlights. Some people would say Monfils Hurkacz, but I don't really care for it. Safiri and Korda could be interesting, but that Paul Mikkelsen clash
and also Musetti and Shapovalov.
No, Shapo is gonna win that.
The battle of the backhand, the single-handed backhand.
these are like for me these are the main ones. So that's why I'm gonna try to stay up until 3 a.m. and try to watch them, because Paul Mickelson, of course, recently they had a big time thriller, and Ruud Klein. I mean, just for the sake of the possible upset, since Klein is kind of like, well, going to play points on his terms, because he always does. So there's always a possible upset in a match like this. Of course, it's not too likely, but it is not out of the question.
Okay, my tennis stream is now switched to Leila Fernandez. She's 1 set all against Parry. So if anyone's interested, if anyone wants to be kept updated, I will. Basically, I've just got to go with whatever Sky Sports decides to show me, because I don't have like all court. So I'm pretty restricted, and that's why Shahari's been watching the Feast Davidovich Fokina one for us.
Mm-hmm.
Anything exciting happening in that one, Shahari?
Yeah, well, both players are just holding serve comfortably so far. 2-all right now. Davidovich Fokina serving.
Is it living up to the pre-match billing of being like, quite swashbuckling tennis? Is it, or has it just been not been that exciting?
Not yet. I mean, obviously, Feast played some really good tennis in the first set, and there were quite a few errors from Davidovich Fokina. But yeah, some good play from Davidovich Fokina in the opening game of this set, and he's looked quite solid on serve since. But yeah, Feast is, I think, right thigh looks taped. Hopefully, it's nothing serious.
He had his that's actually the same sort of, I don't know, issue, injury, whatever, that he had in Santiago. Second, well, let's say second set of the Martinez match, he got it taped. I think he played like the super ecstatic, very electric point to I think at 5-all in the tiebreak, but that was like it. When he won the second set, he was out. He was spent. He had that issue which he actually blamed the courts for. That was the famous, well, I guess infamous video of him talking to the supervisor in a very unpleasant and very swear words heavy manner. And he also had it taped here in the first round. However, it did not seem to be impacting him.
Yeah, it doesn't look
at all.
Did any of you guys manage to catch, Andy versus Andre last night? Yeah. Andy Murray had 3 break points or 3 set points. So
yeah, I mean, I watched the first set. And then
I think, that one, that match, or the set point where Rublev, it was more like a forehand that looked in.
Yeah, and he just let it go. Yeah.
And I think as soon as that happened, the momentum shifted, and I think he needed to win that first set, or it was curtains for him. So yeah, you could tell it was going to be one-way traffic after that.
I actually didn't know he had set points.
He had
I was
4 set points.
I was out last night, and I didn't catch any tennis really. And wow, okay, 4 set points, 3 in a row. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, all in a row. So, I mean,
it was love 40 on at 4-5 on the Rublev serve, and then he got back to Rublev, got back to juice, and he got another one. He had to do it there and then. Otherwise, you just knew with Andy Murray matches it was just going to go one way after that. Rublev was going to get a bit of kind of G'd up by the fact that he'd saved those and saved the first set. So now, okay, I'm getting Fritz and Tabio. That'll be a good one, I think.
So
Davidovich Fokina is he in a bit of trouble here, or is he all right?
Yeah, well, he had game point, and he just hit a wild forehand that went sailing long. So he's deuce now, 2-all.
Are you both terribly gutted that there'll be no more break point? Season 2, season 3?
Quite the opposite, actually.
I didn't even watch season 2.
I watched one episode of season 1, and it was because John had it on when I was in Bonn, and I was
That's right. You told me that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Okay,
forced you to watch it.
Yeah, kinda. So yeah, definitely not gutted. Am I pleased that it's gone? Probably not. I mean, why not? I mean, it probably got some fans, probably not as into tennis, not as maybe not as many as people hoped for, but well, still. I think there is a person on the planet who got interested in tennis because of breakpoints. So I guess it was still positive for the sport. But yeah, just not something for me. And I truly, honestly don't really know for whom still, because it didn't seem to be, well, a great thing for tennis fans, for non-tennis fans, for like no real group of people. But anyway, yeah, it's still better for the sport if it exists. Let's say that.
Yeah,
I think it was maybe Owen. Sorry, go on, Sir Harry.
Right, yeah. For us tennis fans, you could see how sort of amateurish the portrayal of the sport is, and like the comical errors that they made. I mean, obviously, I was talking about this to Joy. I think it was the episode in which they show Sabalenka's Australian Open triumph. I mean, she's serving from the deuce side on championship point, where it was advantage, and like rudimentary errors like that. And it was, some of it was also disingenuous. The episode on Zverev, where they show the Monte Carlo match between him and Medvedev. Remember when Medvedev took the short toilet break during the changeover after he held for 4-3, but then they cut it such that, or they edited it such that right after Zverev broke to serve for the match, they cut to Medvedev taking a toilet break.
Right.
Yeah, that's just terrible. And yeah, I mean, I think David Goffin also said it perfectly. Like, who cares about Kyrgios and his girlfriend, right? I mean, we probably wanted a show that sort of documents the sport more closely, but it's just like, I mean, it's just interactions between players and their teams, and then they're like asking, it's like Taylor Fritz or Berrettini or who else. I mean, the episode on Ons was, I think that was a good one because they actually showed.
But
season 1 or season 1 or season 2?
Season 1.
I think it was season 1.
I think that's the one I watched about the Madrid run, Pegula final and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's the one I watched.
And they also showed the Wimbledon final run, and then they show, and it's Wimbledon and also U.S. Open, and like she's crying, again, Davidovich Fokina has just been broken. I mean, two pretty big errors.
So weird because I'd said he's in trouble there because he had a game point and.
He had like 3 game points and he throws it away. So Artur Fils is very much in the driver's seat for this match. And
I think he double faulted as well, right? Like a deuce.
Yeah, there was a double fault, and it was forehand surplus one, and the forehand went sailing way long again. I mean, he's just wild. That's the problem. He's like, if he had more discipline in his game, he would have probably been top 15 by now. But anyway, it is what it is.
I see Sean mentioning, I think, a challenger type documentary style. Surely you would need to be involved in any production of that.
Honestly, if there was like a documentary, let's say on the ITF tour on the challengers, I think that would be more interesting. Obviously, not to like non-tennis fans, but it would actually like have some side of the sport to show that people don't expect really, some crazy stuff happening there, and sort of the daily life of tennis players sometimes struggling money-wise as well. Like that would be very interesting. But
I've heard there's far more stories in the Challenger Tour. People living in cars and vans and stuff like that just to get around. And I don't know if you ever heard Calvin Betton. He was in tennis and Filton. He was in tennis and Filton one time, telling the people who listen to the podcast that one Challenger event, I'm sure, was basically funded by like sponsors of a brothel or something like that. And And yeah, and this was years ago, but I can't even remember where it was. I would need to go back and listen to it. But he always bangs on about the Challenger Tour and how many more stories there are in the Challenger Tour, like how people are trying to like make their living, and there's far more stories there than the ATP.
Yeah, and I think that would make for a fantastic documentary of sorts. There's actually a movie coming out now, right, which is called Challengers, but actually it's not going to be about challengers. It is about tennis, but it's not going to be about challengers, which is such a disappointment. You see that there's a movie coming out called Challengers, and you're like, oh my goodness, is it going to be about the Scheveningen Challenger or about the
We should make it.
Challenger?
We should make this Challenger documentary. We should crowdfund and we should make it.
Yeah, we do have the skills, definitely. No, obviously, yeah, if someone wanted to do that and sort of took their time to really follow around players on the lower circuits, I think that would make for
I just wonder
great
though,
stories.
would the governing body though, would they allow access to these players? Probably not. Would they? I don't know. Would you'd know better than I? Would they basically tell you that they're our players kind of thing, or what do you think?
Hello, Ashley. Nice to see you.
I mean, sorry, I didn't fully get that. Like, you're talking about access to challenger players, or?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like just because, like, I know that, like, I think there's been the argument that like, the reason why they never really made a proper ATP, or why Baby Breakpoint didn't work, is because it was all ATP sanctioned kind of thing. Like, they were always in control of the narrative, and I just wondered if it would be different if you went down to the challenger level, if you would get like the kind of undiluted access to these players to be able to tell their proper story. And I just wonder, would they want to control it? I don't think it would work if the governing body had an input into what the storytelling is. If you get my meaning.
Yeah, I mean, depends on what the ATP's, I guess, idea with that would be, right? I mean, if they were afraid of showing tennis in a light they don't want to be shown, I don't know. Yeah. But I would assume that they wouldn't expect it to be as popular as Breakpoint, and like they wouldn't be as imposing, when it comes to how it should look. Generally speaking, at challengers you get basically like free access to the players, right? Like so only if they really wanted to impact the narrative, maybe. But also someone could just do this movie. I mean, doesn't need to be with the ATP, right? Like,
yeah,
someone could actually start, I don't know, traveling around ITF's challengers and prepare a movie like that. Obviously, it would be a lot of work, but it is possible, and I don't think the ATP could influence it influence something like that much. They wouldn't really have a way of doing that, I think, unless this was a production sort of also financed by the ATP and stuff.
Okay, well, I will give it another 10 minutes, then I'm going to have to shoot about 10 o'clock. So, Harry, what's everything is just for he's in total control.
Yeah, he had it pretty easily for 4-2. And, well, I'm a couple of points behind what's shown in the scoreboard.
That's okay.
But yeah.
I mean, I've got Fritz now. Fritz versus Tabilo on my screen at the moment. I think this one will be a decent match.
Yeah, Tabilo is defending fourth round points here, so pretty big tournament coming up for him.
Of course, Fritz, what, 2 years ago was that now? Time's flying. Yeah. But was that 2 years ago when he won it? With 1 foot?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that was when it was announced that Netflix is going to film a tennis documentary, and people thought Fritz was faking the ankle injury for the Netflix story.
It's funny
enough, there was an episode on Fritz, but...
Well, there was, but it's funny how you were saying about faking. For like the 5th time today, I watched that, the 5-minute ATV video about them all being actors. I just love it. I think it's amazing. Such a good idea. Have you seen it?
That was really good. Yeah, that was. We need more content like that. And of course, on the WTA tour, they don't do anything like that. And then they say, "Oh, the WTA players are not marketable." I mean, no one does anything on the WTA side in terms of.
Well, I've heard that on the ATP side, the guys are a lot closer. There's maybe a couple of players who maybe aren't best of friends. i.e. Zverev and Medvedev. But in terms of like the guys in the ATP Tour, they all practice together, they all hang out, or in terms of like they have dinner and lunch together and stuff. Whereas on the WTA, it's just nothing like that. They don't practice together. They don't socialise in any way. It's very fractured on the WTA side.
Okay, that's a good point as well. But yeah, I guess you could also get them to bond with one another with these games and activities. I mean, they had them at Dubai. Um, there was media day at the hotel where the players were staying, and that way you can obviously bring them. And they had players parties as well at every tournament. But yeah, they could still. Yeah, I mean, you do have a point, but I do think that the WTA can do a lot more. I mean, let's start with highlights or even updates, right? It's terrible. I mean, in terms of, I
Were they
remember
not reposting Pavi G the other day? Was that what they were?
What? I mean, that was diabolical because Pavi G says, "Oh, I think it's going to move to Saudi," and they retweet. What in the world? Anyway, that was insane. Anyway, Artur Fils is serving 4-3. He's 2 holes away now from making the third round here in Indian Wells.
Do we know who's Fils got next? Do we know? I mean, I've not had a chance to get a look at the draw.
It's either Ruud or Klein.
Cool. Right. Okay. Interesting.
That would be a chance, you'd think. I mean, he destroyed Ruud, right?
Yeah.
Where was it?
35 winners in Hamburg.
Hamburg, yeah, exactly. 6-love, 6-4. I remember that. That was absolute destruction. He would love that matchup again. But as Damien said, I mean, Ruud is probably vulnerable against Lucas Klein himself. So, I mean, the way Fils has been playing here, you would think, okay, he could make a run. I think it's his debut here, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember.
Yeah, he wouldn't have played. He wouldn't have played last year. No.
He's looking pretty good, and yeah, it's a huge turnover from the South American swing. Which again, you might wonder, should he have probably just played in Mexico, either North America or in Dubai, maybe, or in Middle East.
I like the Europe route for him, but mostly for Montpellier, Marseille, Rotterdam, rather than like Dubai. But of course, Dubai can also be a part of it. Maybe he can play a couple of events in Europe and then go to Mexico, for example. That's also a thing. But yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing him in the Golden Swing next year.
Yeah, probably not. Anyway, he's only.
I also think he's just better on slower hard courts than than Clay as a whole. So
for sure, yeah.
Tell me in the the guys watching then, see in terms of the speed of hard courts, where does Indian Wells rank? Is that one of the slower ones that you would say then?
Yeah, very, very, very slow.
Is that to do with the altitude or
there's a lot of sand? No, there's a lot of sand in the mix. It's like very gritty, and the desert air actually kind of helps in that it's not uber slow, but yeah, it is definitely way on the slower side of things.
Well, yes,
high bouncing as well.
Because I mean, Abu Dhabi and Dubai, I guess, also part of deserts, but those courts are really quick here. So I think it has to do with the surface as well. Vanch was talking about sandpaper. I don't know if it was just figure of speech or if it was actual.
No, sandpaper is how someone called it. I think Medvedev maybe. Last year. But no, I think also John Millman this year already said it, like on Twitter as well. Like it's been a word that's been used to describe the Indian Wells courts, basically, for a few years now. I would say like sandpaper courts is how you can only really describe Indian Wells, I think. It's definitely a bit of a weird profile. If someone does well here, they're probably gonna keep doing well here for the rest of their careers. Lots of clay courters often having a fun time, despite maybe not enjoying hard courts as a whole. Tough to hit through people.
Yeah, this is Nadal's most successful hard court Masters after Canada. So
yeah.
Tournament dominated by Novak and Roger. Murray made the final just once, just like Medvedev.
Yeah, Murray hated it over the years. Had some really
Yeah,
awful
even in his
losses.
prime. I mean, I remember when was it, 2012, 11 or 12? He lost to Bogomolov Jr. That was so random.
Yeah, and wasn't it Donald Young as well done the year after? And I think Federico Del Bonis is the famous one, of course, as well, because it was 2016, I think. So
Yeah,
Murray's
16
year
years
where
for Del Bonis, and then Dimitrov in Miami when it was still played at Crandon Park. Well, Crandon Park was also quite slow, right?
yeah, it was very different to this new venue. Yeah.
This new
Looks like
parking
Arthur
lot.
Feast has a match point.
Yeah.
Yeah, another double fault.
This would be a good victory. Oh, just over an hour on the court. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. These two, when they take to court, it's a matchup you can't predict how it's going to go. So, um, yeah, well, looks like he's erased that match point.
Anyone else saying much in the comments? Where we got Dimitrov clinches the first set and goes wild. Matthew.
Blast from the past.
I don't know if that's because I've taken ages to say that. Basically, I don't know.
Oh yeah, Dimitrov's down a break in the first set, so he's now up a set in a break. Could play Medvedev in the fourth round if they get there. I don't know if Daniil would enjoy that, to be honest. But I think a lot of people have Dimitrov beating Medvedev in the fourth round.
Yeah, makes sense in these conditions, I think.
Yeah, it happened once in 2021 also, and Medvedev was set in 2 breaks up. So,
especially with maybe Grigor like these days being more comfortable to just slice the ball and wait around as well. It makes a lot of sense for the
yeah, it
upset
does.
there. They were also on track to face each other in Australian Open round 4, right? But
Yeah.
of course that didn't come to be because of a certain Nuno Borges.
That was so random. I mean, I thought
Yeah,
Dimitrov would definitely make the fourth round, but anyway.
best match of his life. I think it was pretty close. Of course, there's no real justification for Dimitrov hitting that double fault when he was set point up in the fourth, and
But does that not all sum up Dimitrov's career? You know, you can tell he's got so much talent, but just in the big moments, sometimes I know he's won a lot, but I just think that match summed up his career for me.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. I mean, definitely everyone just had him fourth round already, probably battling Medvedev to in the fifth set or something. That's kind of what everyone thought, and then that loss comes when for months he hasn't had a loss like that. And then
it seems whenever people who like Dimitrov, or maybe even people who don't, start to get their hopes up for him, he throws in a result like that or a performance like that.
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't happened in ages until it happened at the Australian Open, but it happened in the big event where everyone thought that he might have a great shot at, I don't want to say winning a slam, but, well, getting to the semis, quarters again.
Yeah, I mean, because if he beat Medvedev, he would have had Hurkacz. He's like 4-0 against him, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he is. It's like mostly tiebreak based, but yeah, he is.
Yeah, they had like 2 or 3 really close matches, I remember. Indian
they had
Wells.
2 third set tiebreaks early on. I think maybe Rotterdam as well. Oh no, Rotterdam was 2 tiebreaks, I think, that Dimitrov won. They had 2 third set tiebreaks, and they also had that Paris match, Bercy last year.
Yeah,
but that was Hurkacz tired, and after the Basel efforts and the general ATP finals race stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not that tragic, that head-to-head for Hurkacz, but it is 0-4.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say the same about his head-to-head with Alcaraz. All close matches.
Cincinnati match point, yeah.
Yeah, Cincinnati had a match point, and Canada, Alcaraz 5-2 up, and all of a sudden he's in a tiebreaker. And then Miami was also 7-6, 7-6. So I still think that Hurkacz is a tricky matchup for Alcaraz. Even Djokovic, to be very honest, I mean, there were those two Wimbledon matches and Paris-Bercy. He had Novak on the ropes in both matches. But yeah, I think 6-0 or 7-0, whatever the head-to-head is now, it's really harsh on Hurkacz, to be honest. Of course, he's a tough matchup for Medvedev. Zverev, he should have beaten him. It was a matter of inches, really, at the United Cup. So, yeah.
Tell me, Shahari, I know Faces, but I don't know how that's went for 30-15 and then back down to 15-0. Oh, there we go. It's back to 30-15.
It's 30-15.
Has he faced a break point as yet? Can you remember him facing a break point at all?
Not yet.
And is this just because he's been serving so well, or or is Davidovich Fokina just not really good? Got into his serve?
There have been a few double faults, but he's been serving really well. Yeah, and Fokina, just too many double faults in key moments, especially what was it 2-all deuce? There was a double fault. First set as well. I think the gaming got broken in double fault or two.
I mean, I'm just having a look there at the start. His first serve is just at 52%. Just that is that not striking that he's serving at that, and Davidovich Fokina hasn't managed to get a break point at all?
Yeah, not yet. It's 30-all now. Scoreboard says it's match point. I mean, there have been moments where Fils has given half chances to Fokina, but he's not really been able to capitalize any of them. Whereas Fils has had a bunch of break points, but he's broken decisively, it seems like, twice.
Yeah, he's playing well enough behind his serve Fils to not allow Davidovich Fokina to escape with his usual lapses of concentration, and that's kind of enough.
Yeah,
I mean, ADF is just going to have one game a set where he's awful.
Yeah, exactly. He's just bursting errors everywhere. And yeah, Fils' ground game has been excellent. I mean, he's played this match on his own terms, really. He's dictating the rallies.
Tries to serve and volley now on the first match point and misses the volley, but well, maybe it won't turn into match, although it's deuce. So
this Tabilo Fritz match, really high quality. I mean, it's still going with serve, but both players, winners. There's been a couple of lobs already. It's been enjoyable so far.
Yeah. I mean, this performance from Fils is exclusively from Fils has been really fun to watch, I would say.
Second match point.
Yeah, if he plays like this, I do want to see him take on some of the best players in the world for sure.
I kind of want Ruud to win tonight now because I really want that match. Fils Klein will be fun to me, but it won't quite have the same ring to it. It won't be it could be a career changing win for Klein, but not for Fils really. Whereas if you get Fils and Ruud, and then they are going at each other, and he's just taken it 2 unreturned serves in a row.
All right, yeah. So Arthur Fils through to the round of 32.
Well done, Arthur. Number 23 seed, Davidovich Fokina out. I hung on a wee bit longer than I said I was going to, guys. So I'm going to just exit stage left here. But it's been a good chat, Shahari, Damien. Always enjoyable. And next time I see you, I will make sure that I have a prime and ready mustache for everybody. So
looking forward to that. It's a pleasure having you on. Look forward to having you on again very soon.
Yeah, let's talk soon. All right, mate. See you later, boys.
Yeah, take care. Good night. See you. All right, then, Damien, it's just you and me. Thoughts on that performance? I mean, I know, I think you mentioned it a few streams ago, you don't have a favorite player exactly, not a player you're not really invested in. Mm-hmm. But I mean, objectively speaking, this is a level that it's probably making us tempted to see Feast play some of the best players in the world, right? I mean, someone like an Alcaraz, a Sinner, or even Djokovic.
No, and actually, Fields is definitely one of my favorites. As I said, it's not really something like I'm not gonna watch all his matches and root for him or something. But yeah, I mean, ever since he sort of emerged on the junior circuit first and then on the Challenger Tour, I was always a big fan simply because, well, there was both the potential but also the exciting game, the big forehand especially, which yeah, I do have a lot of fun watching him for sure. I didn't in the Golden Swing.
Right. I mean,
but
I guess
here
that
I
was the
am,
first
and
time you watched him in statement performance. I mean, I think he's tweaked his service motion from what it was like last season. I do see some difference, and it's helping him too. I mean, he's serving a lot bigger.
yeah,
Um,
and this is something that he didn't he had an okay serve, but he definitely can get more out of it, especially with his athletic potential. So yeah,
exactly.
it is one of the main things he could do. Yeah, for sure. Obviously, the backhand
Yeah.
isn't that strong either, but these are all sort of fine. It's just great to see him play tennis at this level again because the Golden Swing
Yeah.
was, well, I saw a lot of overhyped comments. I would say that there was a moment when Fields was slightly overhyped in that, well, the Grand Slam title that I maybe once thought that he had in him. I don't really know
Mhm.
if it will happen anymore. Like right now, I'm not that confident in it. Whereas a
Mm.
year ago, I was kind of like, yeah, I mean, this could easily be a Grand Slam champion in the
Oh.
next few years.
Mm.
However, yeah, that Fonseca match was a little like, you play a talent who's like 2 years younger, right? 2 years younger, 3 years younger than you. So you kind of will be his rival over the years, and he kind of like out talents you by this much. It was worrying. So it's just good to see him back in the right groove and back to showing that the overhyped comments are definitely sort of to be left
Mhm.
unspoken for now, and just yeah, just
Yeah.
enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, the statement performance really great showing as well. Then face a break point, solid from the ground. He was dictating the rallies, heavy ball striking. Yeah, again, Davidovich Fokina does really have that discipline yet. It seems like, I mean, the games in which he got broken, pretty atrocious play on his own terms. I mean, double faults and regulation error, forehand errors. So yeah, I don't know what the future holds for him, but as you know, for the moment, I'm pretty excited. I mean, yeah, we remember that match in which he blasted Casper Ruud off the court. On Ruud's favorite surface. I doubt he enjoys it much here in Indian Wells. I know he had some success in Miami, making the final. But yeah, Indian Wells. I know last year he lost to Garin. That was a pretty bad loss, and then before that, he lost to Kyrgios. Which, okay, I mean, we kind of expected that. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see how his part of the draw plays out. I think Rude. So again, which section is he in? Who would he play in the fourth round if he gets there?
Yeah, we have to check that. I think I actually thought that Ruud was gonna make it pretty deep in the event. Of course, then Klein was also drawn into his
Mm-hmm.
section. Now Fields is looking like a real threat, so it's getting more and more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the section of yeah. So forefront would be Nori, Monfils, or Hurkacz. So we could actually get a match between Gael
Oh,
Monfils and Arthur Fields.
oh, feast and more
Yeah,
feast.
the Fils and
My
the Fils
son
and
and
Fils.
son, I guess. but
Yeah.
different. But yeah, I think Hurkacz is making it. I mean, he's the champion in my bracket. but uh,
Yeah.
yeah, Hurkacz's feast should be fun. I don't know how. I've not watched Feast play a big server, particularly. I played Zverev in Hamburg. That doesn't say much, but
Yeah, it was
uh,
it was in the
he played
performance,
Bublik in the final in Antwerp. That was
and that was
rather
rough.
straightforward.
That
Yeah,
was
that
that
was
was
rather
tough for him.
straightforward
Yeah.
for Bublik. Before that, he had a big win for him against Tsitsipas. I don't think objectively that was a big win because Steph was he was on the downward trajectory at that point.
Yeah,
And
but still top 10. I mean, it's kind of
Mhm.
like you still have to display something to beat Steph. Like it's not like he's losing to, let's say, Luca Pui, to Marius Kopil, of the guys he played
Mhm.
this year, right? I mean, this year
Exactly.
he's lost to Zverev, Fritz, Ruud, and Deminor. So, like, yeah. That's kind of what I'm
Yeah,
trying to say.
that's
But
true. Yeah.
but yeah, Fields against big servers, I would say Medjedovic as well should count the next gen finals
Oh, yeah.
final, and he was kind of dominated there as well. I think when there's like extreme pace and yeah, he can't really dictate, then yeah, he could have some issues. Yeah, sure. Hurkacz though is different because he doesn't have any pace of the ground, right? So it's
Yeah,
like
that's true.
if
And
you
he has the
actually
big
neutralize
serve
the
and the
serve,
forehand.
yeah,
He
it's
has
gonna
to
be
do
fine.
something about that forehand, because that forehand alone has cost him so many matches. I mean, the one against Umber, the one against,
Zverev,
I would say,
United Cup.
Zverev also. Yeah, I mean, yeah, very shaky, and he tries to go too big, and like sometimes there's so much, there's so many times where he plays that cop out forehand and it lands way long, when he doesn't really know what to do. His backhand is solid in terms of redirecting the pace. He can do that very well, especially redirecting down the line. And he can generate some pace with the backhand as well, with the kind of grip that he has. But yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, Hurkacz and Monfils, I don't think. I mean, Hurkacz, the way he serves, shouldn't be too troubled. But then if Monfils plays a really good match, I can also see an upset there. It depends
Big
on his
comment
health.
here on my Twitter from Ryan Stoker, who says that he would be shocked if Fields doesn't make the top 10 by the end of next year.
Oh, wait, I don't see it.
No, on my Twitter, on under my post. Yeah,
Right, because there were two comments on
yeah.
Twitter.
I know. Now we also have
Right.
lots of viewers on Twitter generally,
Question
and
from
lots of
Sean:
comments.
who needs to work? Well, I would say Hurkacz.
I don't know. Both. I mean, they have similar issues, I suppose.
It's true.
I don't know if
Yeah.
it's really salvageable. Like if let's say Goff, at least is young. Hurkacz for a few years now
Yeah, it's true.
hasn't really, like, maybe if it's quicker, yeah, can actually be pretty dangerous with it. I think the inside in forehand that he sort of improved last year, that was kind of crucial. But yeah, especially on like a slower court like here, I don't think it will be good. And the general comfort level with it on the attack obviously isn't too strong. And Coco, I guess today we also saw more issues with hers, especially the wind doesn't seem to be helping, which might be, well, it might be very explainable if you're like struggling to produce a shot in clean conditions. Then how are you going to do it in the wind?
I
So
agree.
it's kind of rough. But of course, Coco won a slam, so well.
Exactly. So yeah, I guess that concludes the stream. Wait, what time is it where you are? Is it 11:13?
Yeah, 11:13. So I still have 4 hours until my Mikkelsen Paul and Ruth Klein
Ah,
battle.
okay. I see. You're gonna stay up for that.
I'm gonna try. Yeah, these are the best 2 matches to me today. Yesterday I didn't see any tennis, so I kind of have to make up for that. And
Fair enough.
we'll see.
Well, it's 2:13 for me here, so I'll head to bed. I mean, as always, it's really fun doing this with you, and see you soon enough. Maybe next week.
Of course, see you.
Yep. See you. Do we play the outro, or how does this? I don't know if the producer is here. But
Oh, I can end it if you.
yeah, I'm searching for that outro, the iconic one. I
Okay.
mean, if you find it, you can also.
No, I actually usually just end stream, so I don't really know where it is. so
I don't
you're on
either.
your own with that, I guess.
I found it. Okay.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.